in the agency are either case officers, they're intel collectors, or they're in ground branch. And that, because that was kind of the natural course of things, right? And so I submitted my resume for HR to grab it in that regard, and I get the call. It's like it's kind of one of those things like, hey, you applied for a job and you want an interview, right? You know what you apply for, right? So as a contractor, I was going back and forth, and then I was always keeping track of leads on job opportunities and stuff like that. So um, the dying cores and the Blackwaters and all that stuff. Everybody's starting up security companies and doing things. When I got back to the States, every time I'd go through all the messages that were left on, hey, we might have something that you might be interested in, kind of job inquiries and recruiters and all that stuff. And so I'd go through those every time I got back. Some of them are okay and legit, and some were like, I didn't feel like doing that. It's not for me kind of stuff. And this one for the agency, that was one like many. They just said, hey, we have a job that you are well suited for. If you're interested, give us a call at this number. And it was like that, and like many other calls that I was responding to, and call them, set them up, talk to them, set up an appointment for an interview. And they're not saying a whole lot.
You knew it was an agency role at this point, or no? No. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And so at the same time I'm doing that, though, I'm trying to apply through their recruiter, this is a former unit guy at the time, to go to ground branch. So he had said at one point, now he's deploying too. So he's also a recruiter for the ground branch at the time, on the contracting side. And we can't sync up our schedules. I'm either deployed, he's deployed. Every time I come back, he's like, hey, I got to take off tomorrow. I got another interview in the morning, but then I got to jump on a plane. It's like, okay. So he tells me at one point, he's like, well, I'll tell you what. He goes, go to the website, go to the agency website, go to this job description, apply for it, and we'll flag it for HR to grab when they see your name. And I was like, okay. So I go to the website, apply for this job. And that's even how GRS got my information.
They saw the pipeline.
Yeah. So I'm assuming what it is.
It's probably ground. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was the ground side of things. And so I go to this interview, and, as they're talking about things, it was weird. So they're talking to me like, I know what I signed up for. And I'm talking to them like, you know what I signed up for. And we're going through this interview thing. And I was like, wait a minute. What do you guys do? What do you get? It's like the whole Bob question. What did it say?
Could you maybe explain quick for viewers that might not understand the context here? Because this is hilarious. The fact, like the separation of the two. Like, what is the difference between GRS and ground branch, and like, I guess what operations they might be doing? Because the deliberation that would be there is very...
Yeah, so ground branch is part of another directorate that's more of a paramilitary. They are structured paramilitary. So that's the operations they do. It's more along the lines of like a special forces mission, like train, equip, and foreign militaries and stuff like that. So direct action stuff, they're doing all that kind of stuff. GRS is on the protection side. So we're on a smaller teams, and we're on a clandestine kind of protection role for intel gatherers that are in the war zones. And it's like I was saying before, we don't go to places that are running well. Yeah. It's already gone to shit. And so now they need us. So the protection side of that thing too is like, so they can do their job and not focus on their own safety. That's what we did. We provided the safety and their security so they can do the intel collecting. So as I'm trying,
doing this interview,
all the guys that I know in the agency are either case officers, they're intel collectors, or they're in ground branch. And because that was kind of the natural course of things, right? Yeah. And so I submitted my resume for HR to grab it in that regard, and I get the call. It's kind of one of those things like, hey, you applied for a job and we want to interview, right? You know what you apply for, right? It's that job, right? And I'm doing the same thing. It's like, oh yeah, I got you, right? And I get there, and it's not what I thought at all. And I said, "Wow, I finally get. What do you? What? Wait, what?
Who the hell are you?
Who are you? What section are you guys?" And because I don't know how to speak like directorate and stuff like that. I don't know how they're broke down like that. Like so, what section are you guys in? It's like so we are the director of support, office of security, global response staff, all this other stuff. This is our mission. And I was like, I totally thought I was here for another reason, right? but that I didn't know you guys had this, right? So that sounds interesting. So yes, this is up. And so I eventually end up going that route. And yeah, it was a good job. It was so at 2003, it wasn't at its infancy, but it was fairly new. And then now it just getting huge. So Iraq comes into play, and now we're starting to expand in GRS, and they need more guys and all this other stuff. So yeah, I was gonna do that with the intent. I never again. It's like the military too. I was like, I'll do this for a couple of years. Yeah, yeah, whatever. We'll ride this train for a little while and see where it goes. And so I did that. Now I did know the NSA has another similar kind of a group like GRS. And I actually did do some contracting. In my contracting, I'm bouncing back and forth. I got a buddy who's working on that side of the house, and he's like, "Hey, man, are you available during this time frame?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm not deployed. I'm doing DynCorp stuff or triple canopy stuff. Yeah, I'll go do. I'm supposed to go to Afghanistan. They were just spinning up a team in Afghanistan. I ended up going to Baghdad to replace those guys so they can go to Bagram and spin up the NSA protection detail for those guys. So I knew they had something going like that. And I probably even crossed paths with GRS dudes that I didn't know that's what they were.
Yeah,
I thought they were contractors of some sort or something like that. And I ended up when I go to GRS, find out what they're doing. Yeah, I was like, oh, yeah, this is kind of cool. I'll do this, for a couple of years, see what happens. And then it just got to end my whole thing about if this is what I'm supposed to be required to do, I don't think this training to get to this point, to my deployment, is beneficial. So to me, or if it's somebody who doesn't have experience at all, it's not giving them any like real preparation to go do this job.
That's kind of what I was going to ask next. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was that guy to push back. And most of the management at the time was like, well, this is what we've been doing. This is what the guys that have been here from the start have input to get what we have right now. Now, and I was very honest with them. I was like, nah, this
sucks.
This is like JV stuff. It's like, I assumed you guys were like wanted to be like the varsity guys. So this is not what I expected. And if this is what it is, then I might not stick around very much longer, and just keep pursuing other things. And that part of the agency doesn't take well to like feedback like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, hey, that's fine. And then I'm not going to work here. Then I don't care. It's not like you have to fire me because I'll just go.
Yeah. Yeah.
if this is what it is.
And once contracts wrapped,
I thought it was something else. All right, my bad. So that's really what motivated me even to stay the 16 years that I did, is to kind of affect positive change. Positive change would have been not just because it was what I want, my thing. It wasn't just my thing. Yeah. It was like better for the
security group. Of people.
Yeah, better for the group to do certain things a different way.